Oh non, je n'ai pas une cuillère.
And that, we just did one with a physician, we have attorneys coming out, we have business owners, we have one next week with one of the top scholars in the nation, from every perspective, some things from every perspective. Okay.
Yep.
And then what do we invite them to do? How should they become, how can they stay from, what's the call to action to participate in this podcast search?
I'm not that available right now.
Okay.
Mentally. Call to action was the question?
Yeah, so if you want to participate in the series, you should, to make sure you don't miss an episode, you should
Go to theenlightedentrepreneurs.com.
entrepreneurs.com, and that's where they find that links on spelling or how if they already have it somewhere.
I can put it up.
That's all. And then we'll do something on the back end about if you want more information. Right now, we're just not putting money to do it. And we're not talking about just others one-on-one. To get information for that, you should also go to the Entrepreneurs website.
I want it.
Tu veux le manger? Pas maintenant.
Yeah.
¿Qué dice?
I did.
Ah.
That you don't have a spoon, Papa. But you don't have a spoon, Papa. Papa, but you don't have a spoon. Maybe there's a spoon in your oatmeal cup. Maybe there's a spoon in your oatmeal cup. If there's in your oatmeal cup, Granny? Papa?
No.
Is there?
Oh, peut-être.
If there was in your oatmeal thing? I found it being quiet.
Qu'est-ce que tu as trouvé pour mon coup?
I found it being quiet.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Sitting here.
Oh, wow. Look at that background. Oh, wow. Tu l'as trouvé. Here, my little one here. So what was I going to say? Oh, a couple things I want to test before we get going here.
is if you can test screen sharing on your end.
Yeah, I've been doing that today.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I'll tell you. Very good.
Good.
Is that showing up?
I'm not seeing anything on my end. Ah, je dois tenir ça. Non, je dois
How about now?
Nope.
Send a link to let people view and track file activities or add comments online. Then we'll need to sign in.
So this one, that we're tracking the comments via YouTube, but
I had this working earlier. It showed.
if not, we may have to just rely on not having it, but hopefully.
Oh, I was able to do it earlier in a different way.
You.
Yeah, let me know.
Let's see here. Here we go. I think this is how I did it.
Let me check you out here.
I grabbed one already. Thank you. I already asked them.
Now is it?
No, your screen, it's not showing. I wonder if I change it to gallery view. So in the bottom of your screen, you should see something that says share screen,
Yeah.
and that's not working.
Oh, here we go. I think it's going to do. Let's see. Allow Zoom. Open system preference. There, not record. Okay. It's like,
You.
how's that? Is that showing it?
Let me come back and see. No, it's still just you. Oh, there we go. Yep.
All right.
Nice work.
You guys.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure we were able to do. So
Hi, Tom.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm so glad to have two smart guys working on this.
I'm trying.
You're doing more than trying.
I think I need to get it into this other screen. Though. Fuck it.
She's okay for.
yeah,
Is it still showing that screen?
let me see. Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna.
You only gave me a string.
I'd rather be looking into it though. Let me see if I can bring it back over. Stop share.
There you go.
And now it took it off, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. And that's all we need to be able to do back and forth. Okay, you can.
Your screen. I want to share on. So now am I back on sharing?
You should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be. Okay, so if you can stop your video and mute your mic so that you're back on sharing. Perfect. So stop your video and mute your mic because I'm going to share the live stream link now. And I don't want them to be able to see or hear us until 3 o'clock.
And mute my.
And then screen 2, stop video. Yep, and then when it's time to go on at 3 o'clock, if you could log in at kind of 2:55 or 2:58, somewhere around there, just add your video and add the mic, and then we should be good. I can't see you, but I'm guessing you heard me. All right, I'm stopping my video. Hey, Tom, so keep your mic muted for now and we'll go live in a couple minutes. Perfect. Can you hear me, Tom?
Yeah, I'm in.
All right.
Love the backdrop.
Yeah, the backdrop is gold. All right, so we are now live on YouTube and via our Patreon link at theenlightentrepreneurs.com. If you're listening to this now and you're checking in, please share this link with as many people as you know, or just put it on your social media, because this is going to be really practical and powerful information to help your business survive and hopefully thrive on the other side of the coronavirus pandemic that's going on right now. We are joined today by Tom Ferguson, the founder of Rise Biscuits. Before we get to the interview, Dave has a couple announcements that he wants to make. Right now, we're trying to stay nimble on our feet and pump out as much content as we can that is relevant and timely to the current situation, especially for business owners and entrepreneurs who are navigating this time, because we know, we feel it, we hear you, and we hear the pain that you're going through. So just know that we're in your corner and we're doing everything we can to serve you.
Really briefly, we started this podcast in order to be a resource for entrepreneurs with higher purpose. We had no idea how relevant this was going to be so quickly.
Yeah.
And so as Justin said, we are churning out content from all different directions, all different perspectives. We just finished an interview with Dr. Jerry O'Donnell, who is a Duke physician, just came back from a conference of 250 physicians, had information about new treatments, had information about when is advisable not to get advisable to get tested. So again, just stay tuned.
Yeah, he's on the front line of this stuff, and we'll be putting that out later today.
Right. So they're going to be, maybe we're just lucky to have phenomenal people in our world and coming into our world. And so please don't miss an episode. And in order for them to be sure that they are subscribed and won't miss an episode, what do they need to do?
Yeah, go to theenlightentrepreneurs.com. That's a hard one to spell, so you can just follow me at Justin Minot on Instagram, Facebook, all of that type of stuff. Justin, JustinMinott. All right, enough of that. We are going to turn it over to Tom Ferguson now, the founder of Rise Biscuits. He has been through a few of these major global events, and the advice and wisdom that he has to share today is, it's going to really help a lot of people. It's already helped me in my business here at Nolia Coffee, just having Tom. So thank you so much, Tom, for being you and for being willing to share your heart with people.
Absolutely, man. I just want to share everything that I've gone through before and answer any questions that anybody may have.
All right, so let's start with backstory on Rise and your journey there. Catch us up to now, and then just jump into the content. Dave and I will ask you questions as we go.
Yeah. So Rise started back in 2012, and then in 2015 we started franchising. Right now we have 16 stores in 6 states.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been growing pretty well over the time. We've made a lot of adjustments recently, some which have really helped us through this crisis. And I'll talk about those in a few minutes. And the thing I want to talk about first is just how you perceive a crisis and how you look at it. Your perception is so important in moments like this. It can be as the backdrop behind me right now that we're in a war zone. I was in Honduras last week and I FaceTimed my daughter, my 10-year-old, one of my twins. And I said, "Hey, how's it going?" And she said, "Well, the virus is really scary." I said, "Why?" She said, "It's like, here, your lungs fill up with water and your head pops off."
Wow.
I go, okay, so that's one perception that you can have. Or you can have the perception of, if I get through this, the opportunities at the other side are going to be gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
And what I need to do is get through this with my company, my employees intact if possible, my company intact, try not to borrow a bunch of money to get through it. You get to the other side, it's going to be a lot different.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things I really want to talk about. So it could be the war zone drop that we have right now, or it could be this.
There you go.
And I prefer to do this than the rest of my talk today.
Yeah, let's leave that there. I like
Yeah,
that.
much better. And you just
Get my
returned,
nerve.
you just returned from birding in Honduras as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is actually,
So that's a bat falcon that I got into the top of a hard hike up to the top of the mountain.
Hmm.
So the first thing that I want to share today, just kind of give you the outline of what I'm going to talk about, and then taking questions in between.
Yeah.
So,
And by the way, for questions, join us on the YouTube link, and you can actually make comments in the chat. So we're going to be able to see that and respond to your questions. So keep them coming, and then I'll chime those in as we can. Yeah.
so can you see the screenshot now?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the first one is motivating and inspiration. That's a really important topic. And then we're going to talk about lessons from the past, finances, mental health, and the fog of war. Those are going to be the topics that I plan on touching.
Love it.
Now,
Love it.
I want to get to where I unsave my screen. Sorry, unshare it. Sorry, Justin, this part.
No, you're good. I know we're figuring out the tech as we go.
Am I showing my screen now?
I still see your screen. I still see the document.
All right, now you should see me.
Soon.
Uh,
Yeah, we like your face.
got my face now?
Nope, I'm seeing your, there we go. There we go.
Okay, so motivation and inspiration. I think the first thing that you that's good at a time like this is to read the definition of what you are. If you're a CEO or you're a business owner, here's the definition for a CEO. The chief executive officer is the highest ranking executive in a company whose primary responsibilities include making major corporate decisions, managing the overall operation and resources of the company, acting as the main point of communication, and being the public face of the company. Most importantly, motivating and inspiring the company to reach its objective.
Yes.
That's where we're at right now. So if you're listening to this because you're in the restaurant business and you're a chef who loves to cook and serve the public, and that's why you got into this and you didn't really want to do anything else, it's time to kind of put that on hold and become a businessman at this point. You have to save your company right now. And these are the things that I plan on covering. There's what I do right now, and I'm really been doing it for a while, are some daily habits to do every day I like to talk about. So when I get up, I make my bed. I do 10 reps of something. I say my daily affirmation. I pray and I meditate. You can do whatever combination of stuff that you want to, but it's time to kind of start some discipline habits right now if you don't have them already.
Right.
They'll start you off in a positive part of the day, really motivated and ready to hit your day a little bit harder and take on the obstacles that you're going to have through your day.
Well, sure, because all of this is unstructuring a lot of people's days, right? Now it's a lot more flexible. There aren't a lot of things that you necessarily have to do, and no one's really checking in on your time. So having that bit of structure, I think, is really key. That's helped me as well.
I feel that it helps me a lot right now. When I'm coming in, I'm dealing with, something new's coming in like every hour, some news of what's going on, or they're going to do this or do that. It helps a lot. Also, talking to your peers is really important too. Staying abreast and don't climb in a hole. A lot of people right now are just locking up, and if you're locking up and you're not doing anything, you're not going to survive through this, guys. You've got to fight your way through this, and I hope that I can get that across through the rest of this podcast of how important it is to fight through this. Then the next part go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was going to make a point because one, you're getting an internal connection with yourself and you're getting external connection with others, and you keep both of those going on through this process.
Right. Absolutely. This is a time to really connect with yourself, connect with others, your employees, your customers. I was talking to my brother for a while last night, Dan, who owns Q Shack, and we both, to an extent, feel, energized through this process. We're digging deep in and saying, no one's taken this 30 years of our life away from us, what we worked so hard to get to. We're not going down without a fight. If our companies go down, the whole damn thing's going down. We'll fight right all the way through it.
Right.
So it leads me to some lessons from the past. There's a really important thing that happened in my life when I was in Ranger School. And in Ranger School, you're like in 5 different leadership positions. And this one particular one that I was in, I was the platoon leader. So I was in charge of, it was even 30 something people doing a mission. It was a helicopter ride. We rode in and we landed. We got out and the Ranger Sergeant threw down a simulation to simulate incoming artillery. And I said, 500 meters, 12 o'clock. And we all ran and spread it out. Then he threw them down again as we were reorganized. I said, 12 o'clock, 500 meters. We spread out even more. Then he threw down some more simulators. 12 o'clock, 500 meters. We ran out and we were all spread out all over this mountaintop. And he came up to me with a map and he said, where are we, Ranger? Where are we, Ranger? Where are we, Ranger? And I go, I don't know where we are. How can I know where we are? I lost. He goes, you're done. Next person up. And I go, fuck. So I have to go back to the line. We did our maneuvers all night. The next morning when he gives us our grade, he called me in and said, hey, how do you think you did? And I said, well, I think I failed. He said, you failed. Do you know why you failed? And I said, I didn't know where we are. I lost, count of where everybody was. He goes, no, I didn't know where we were. Nobody knew where we were. You failed because you lost your composure.
Wow.
It's so important that when you're in a stressful moment,
That's
you're
powerful.
the leader of this that everybody's looking to. You have to keep your shit together. That's what this is. It's a leadership school. We put you under stress to show how you deal with stress. So when you're in these stressful positions in your corporations, your companies, or your love of your life, this thing that you build, you have to have that composure. You have to dig deep because everybody's looking at you. Everybody in that company is counting on you at this point.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
So, which takes me back to when 9/11 happened. That was really early on, like a year into my first company that I had, Durham Catering Company. It passed relatively quick. It was a little bit of heartache, set me back a little bit, but it was not a big deal. But
You're talking from a business perspective, from an economic perspective, right?
from my business perspective and my certain situation that I was in.
Yeah.
2009 was a different thing. For me, 2009 happened, and I had a catering company that was pretty big at that point with a lot of salary employees, a lot of part-time employees. And the bottom dropped out of catering. Duke University was about 60% of my business. They stopped doing catering. Mine was probably 30% of my business, and they all started using local barbecue places to do their weddings.
Wow.
And then parties for people who had a fair amount of money was in the rest of my business. And most of those people stopped throwing parties because they didn't want to flaunt their wealth during a hardship. So I was in a really tough position at that point. And I had an older gentleman come in and visit me in my office and sit down and tell me, Tom, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. I watch you do business. You do business well. You're going to be okay. You got to fight yourself through way through this a little bit, but you're going to be okay. And that was super important to me. So I want to tell anybody out there, I don't know you, but if you run a tight business, you're going to be okay. If you keep fighting your way through this, you're going to be okay. And I think that's a really important message for us to be reassuring the people around us that if you do everything that you can, if you get creative, if you talk to your people, you talk to your providers, do everything that you need to do deep inside. If you do those things instead of crawling a hole, you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I'm seeing, I'm in Durham, and I just think Durham's the greatest city on the planet. There is a ton of collaborative spirit, even amongst businesses as well, to say, okay, look, we're getting through this together. It's not just me fighting on my own, but even, with me at Nolia Coffee, we're collaborating with a few different businesses to help each other and boost each other's revenue and morale really at the same time, so that we're working on getting through this together. So I think that's huge.
It's priceless, priceless to talk to them. What I want to go through now, which I think is something that's probably the most important thing I'm going to talk about, is I'm going to go down the P&L for one of my Rise locations. So this is the P&L prior to, so we do periods. We do 13 periods a year instead of 12 months. This enables us to look at apples to apples throughout the year instead of a month that has 28 days, a month that has 31 days, a month that has 5 weekend days. So it's pretty cut and
So
dry.
you divide the 52 weeks into 13 periods?
Yes.
Okay,
It
interesting.
doesn't divide exactly, but it puts 13 periods into a year. So we're always looking at this 4-week snapshot.
Got it.
In this, I'm going to go through the entire P&L and talk about what I've done for each one of these categories. I am not a financial expert, but I'm someone who's been through this before. I'm someone who runs a fairly tight business. And I'm just going to share what I know.
Yeah.
So you should see it on the screen now.
I see a bird.
No, you don't see the.
No, I see a screensaver. I don't see the,
The document.
Not yet.
seeing some birds, which are quite nice as well.
You should now.
There we go.
Okay, so you're looking at my downtown Rise locations P&L
Mhm.
at this point, and starting from the top, you see can you see my mouse?
Yep.
Okay. So you see our total income of $57,900. So that's the money we brought in. People who may have questions about how delivery works for us, since we moved to delivery pretty aggressively over about the last 9 months, you can see that it represents almost 25% of my business now.
Wow. Is delivery, not people coming into your location.
Correct. So
Incredible.
And Tom, just briefly, how long ago did you start making that transition to focusing on delivery in addition to
we've been
in-store?
making it for about a year, but we started pushing it really hard about 9 months ago, and we were totally in about 6 months ago. 6 months ago.
So you were well ahead of the curve of what everyone's scrambling to do now by necessity.
We were, and we took a lot of beating for it too. There's like three, the biggest beating we took from the public was lowering our emphasis on donuts. A lot of that had to do with my feeling about the quality of the donuts and then the labor to do the donuts. But a big part of it was delivering donuts is really hard because you have to keep up with your inventory. And someone could come in online, this invisible person, and wipe out all your creme brulee donuts. And then you don't have it for the next order. So you have to go in and 86 it on your delivery system and then on your POS system. So it's relatively complicated to do items like that ate really quickly. So that was a big reason why we got rid of it. But thank God that we did, because being moved into this emphasis on delivery, which you see this company's almost 25%. I have other companies in our system that are 40%, other companies that are over 50% delivery.
Wow.
The bigger the urban area, the bigger the delivery percentage of our sales are.
And when we were sitting down for coffee a couple weeks ago, you were saying that you think that this is really the future of the industry, regardless of current coronavirus situation.
It is, because all the indicators and all the reports that you're seeing are showing that the percentage of delivery versus dine-in is going up pretty steady. It's supposed to be at the end of this year, 35% of all delivery orders, which I think that may be accelerated.
Right. Yes.
At 25, they were talking 60% of orders would be delivery. That seems kind of crazy, but this happens so fast. A lot of my friends in the restaurant business that closed their doors over the last year and a half did not integrate into delivery because maybe they felt their product didn't work that way, or they didn't want to pay the fees associated with it. And most people listening now maybe say, well, they take 30% of your sell on that item. Well, we adjusted our pricing accordingly. So it's basically taken about 15% of our sales.
So when you say you adjusted your pricing, are you saying you put your online delivery pricing for that same item up 30%?
No, we raised it about 20%.
20. Okay, so you're still eating some of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Of it. So we're eating about half of it now. And at the bottom, I'm going to show you what we end up paying for delivery too. So you'll see
I want to make one real quick point here, Tom, because I think it goes back to what you say about seeing opportunity here. Because it seems like what's happening now is just disrupted everybody's plans, and we're thrown into some chaotic period, which we are. But if I'm hearing right, basically this was a trend the trend towards delivery was already happening. In a way, what's happening now with the virus is accelerating that.
Yeah. So a lot of people are trying to get into delivery really quickly right now.
Okay.
It takes a little bit of time to understand how to run your operation that way.
Yeah.
You have to make some adjustments, but people will make those on the fly. When we're done with this thing, I don't see delivery going anywhere. I see a lot of these companies continuing to do it as we go forward.
Yeah. Great.
So when we go down here, we've gone through we'll go to the cost of goods. So our cost of goods for food costs is just under 25%, and our total cost of goods is about 31% for that period. For a little bit lower than that, but that's where we are. This is period 2 is one of our 3 slowest periods of the year.
Okay.
Then we go to payroll. Our payroll was at 25.41%. That's really solid for us in our company. Now we go down to your fixed costs. And I think this is where, well, let me talk about payroll first. So at 25%, what you have to be doing right now is shrinking your staff to do the business. So in our stores, 3 corporate stores, and really I think through Rise, most of the stores haven't had to lay off people, but they cut them back shifts,
Okay.
back hours. So in our stores, we typically would run 3 people plus a manager Monday through Thursday. And on Friday, 4 people plus a manager, Saturday and Sunday, 5 plus a manager. We have shrunk that to 2 people plus a manager Monday through Friday, 3 people plus a manager Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But we also got rid of the register person taking the order and made all our orders either on the kiosk or through delivery.
Right.
Or online ordering. So we adjusted how you can order from us, shrinking the staff somewhat, shrunk them in the back based on business. And we're down company-wide for the first week was about 30%, a little bit over 30%. Got hit a little bit harder these last few days, but
You're talking revenue down 30%?
sales down.
Yeah.
Today, though, is a little bit brighter for us. For our corporate stores, the 3 corporate stores that we own, we were down 11% over last Saturday.
Okay.
And corporate-wise, we were down 23% over last Saturday. So we're still dropping, but we're somewhat stabilizing it with the labor in the back. So you have your controlled cost, your labor, and your cost of goods. Cost of goods controlled a little bit, just order less stuff in so you're not, if it's on the shelf, it's costing you money. Just bring in what you need. For your labor, go ahead and shrink it. And if you have to let people go, you have to let them go.
Mhm.
So there can come a point where we have to do that as well. We'll probably just shrink our staff a little bit more this next week and then
Yeah.
see where we are at the end of the week.
Now, how are you communicating that to your staff? Because it seems like you're a very transparent person when it comes to communicating these types of big shifts. What are you saying? What would you suggest as a leader?
I suggest you tell them the truth. You just tell them exactly where you are.
Yeah.
For me, I can tell you in 2009, I had a sous chef that was on salary for me, and I had the honest conversation. She got nervous and she went and worked for another caterer in town. And then she was gone from there a month later. And then I brought her back to be a manager for Rise at one point. So you just have to say, hey, I'm going to tell you some scary stuff. But if you look out the window, you can tell it's scary stuff.
Right.
But I'm just trying to tell them why I'm making these decisions as I'm going through it and that what I'm trying to accomplish. And my main goal right now is not to make money, it's to keep people employed,
Yeah.
break even. That's my goal.
Yeah.
We just stopped collecting royalties from our franchisees. We said, you don't have to pay us royalties right now. We'll judge this on a week-to-week basis to try to give them more power to go forward too. So we're trying to give them a break so they can survive and get through this.
Yes.
And I'm telling them the same things I'm going to tell you guys right now about the other costs, your fixed costs in your company, and how to kind of maneuver your way through this process.
Yeah. Okay.
So when it comes to insurance, you have to pay your insurance. You need to pay that, or they're going to drop it. You're not going to be covered if something bad happens. But you may have it on an auto pay or something through your bank. That I'm kind of encouraging people to stop all your auto pays, find out when the last date that's available, so you can push everything back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't suggest that you default on your insurance.
Right.
Utilities, the same thing. You may have those on auto pay. Get them off auto pay if you can, and push them back and pay them at the last point of the month that you can pay them.
Right. Well, and from Duke Energy, I know there are some potential options to defer some payments as well. So there might even be that option.
Yeah, I think that the things that, and I'm going to go over those in a little bit, that my experience is you did get a break on when they, declare an emergency. We're using some utilities were one that they did, even for your household, they did that for.
Wow. Yeah.
And when you're coming down to the other things like, laundry, cleaning towels, cleaning supplies, all that stuff, kind of keep that to a minimum.
Yeah.
Any rebranding expenses isn't something we're doing right now. Technology fees are point of sales. We have to pay that. Postal shipping, that's just a little bit, don't worry about that. Payroll processing fees you have to do, but it's going to drop with less hours. Equipment lease, call and ask for deferments on your lease. See if you can push that back. Merchant card fees, you're going to have to pay those. Bank charges, accounting fees, my accountant I'm keeping at this point. And then it goes to rent and CAM. Now here's my feeling on rent. At my house, with my mortgage, I called mortgage holder and asked for a deferment, and they automatically gave me a 3-month deferment.
Wow.
What a deferment means is basically you're not going to pay for 3 months. They're going to add those 3 months to the end of your mortgage.
So, okay, so just to be clear, so people understand deferment, if you have 24 months left on your mortgage, it's not that you are taking months off, you're just moving those 24 months 3 months later.
To the end, yes.
Right, so you still make the same amount of payments, you just deferred them, you pushed them aside. For
Now,
a couple
here's the
months.
thing I think that people need to be aware of and ask about when they're talking to their landlord about getting a deferment. Your landlord could add 3 months to the end of your lease and give you the deferment now. Now they say no, you have to understand they're probably getting a deferment on that piece of property they have.
On their mortgage.
Now, if they're the asshole that got a deferment on their property but did not help you out during that time, be vocal. Don't just take that. Also, if it's a hardcore thing with your landlord and they're going to kick you out if you don't pay, there's a bit of time before they're going to do that.
Yeah.
You
And
have
just,
some leeway.
yeah, and just to add this, as you know, I was an attorney, is that you're not going to find a court that's going to be very sympathetic to the land, to the people that you owe money to right now.
Absolutely. That's what I was telling my brother last night too. You have a
Now, do you have any idea? I know this isn't legal advice. Don't take it this way, listeners. But how much time do you have? If your landlord says, "Look, nope, not doing it," what is that timeline?
Well,
safely?
look at your landlord's situation. I mean, this is kind of like you're making decisions. I'm somewhat of a cowboy doing business. You're saying, all right, if he kicks you out, how long is it going to take him after this to rent that space out when there's so many kitchen spaces that are going to be empty across? What's his best decision at this point? Think like him, put yourself in his shoes and look at his situation versus your situation. You have to be fairly aggressive and strong during these things and fight this out and take somewhat of chances. This is the opportunities that may save you not to be paying that rent. My rent's really, we have a really small space downtown, so my rent's not bad there. But I have another store that's rent is $6,000.
Wow.
So that $6,000 will pay my payroll for, in this situation, how much we've shrunk it for over 2 weeks.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's a major difference.
and your care right now is towards your employees, or even if you
Right.
got rid of your employees, you don't want to worry.
Right. Humans first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just a real quick point that I see here too, Tom, because one is just, how much can you get away with? But I also feel, just because I know who you are, that it's also who can best bear the cost, right? You don't want, you want to offload it on a bank or the government, that's fine. You offload it on one of your suppliers who's as close to the bone as you are, that's not okay.
Yeah, for me, for suppliers, and I'm glad you brought that back up. So if we go back up to our cost of goods at 31%, your little local suppliers who you're dealing with for getting your stuff, pay those people first.
Yeah.
Your bigger suppliers that you have, most of them will work out terms with you, but you can't cut off your supplies because you need that to continue to go forward.
Right.
But when I went through 2009, I'll say this about US Foods. US Foods really helped me through that time. And I was just moving into a new location at that time too, where they supplied some of the equipment. After 2009, when I started Rise and it became big and became a bigger account, and I was talking to a lot of other suppliers, when they were all apples to apples, I chose US Foods because US Foods took care of me during 2009. That loyalty that they gave me then, I continued with my growth to continue to give that to them. And I think that's really important if you make it through this to start thinking about the people who help you as you're doing as well.
Well, and I would even go a step further to say, be the people who are helping others, because that's exactly how you're going to be remembered on the other side of this. Is you're someone who served, you're someone who gave people opportunities and helped others during this time. And I know for me, that's been the one thought that I keep coming back to when I think about pivoting my business at Nolia Coffee. It is, how can I serve? How can I serve? How can I be a benefit to my community? How can I make other people's lives better? And it, undoubtedly, you actually come out with the better business decisions when you think about how you can actually serve and how you can be a part of what's going on. So yeah, thanks.
Whoever makes it through this is going to be a way better business person than they were before. So many lessons to be learned on going forward, from how you treat your customers. You're focused in on it now even more than before. How you treat your employees, you're thinking about that even more.
Yeah.
It's it's a way nature kind of does a reset.
Mhm.
Gets back on board. After that, we talk about the taxes that you're paying. So you have your sales tax. They're giving you no interest and late fees or no late fees going forward. My suggestion is you file your sales tax, but you don't pay it right now. So we filed all ours. It was due last Friday. There's probably people sitting on theirs right now. There's two different fees, late fees they give you, one for not filing, one for not paying. So I suggest that you go ahead and file and that you don't pay and hold that.
Now, is that also a phone call? Do you make that, or is that just automatic? You file it and you just leave it?
I don't know that part.
Okay.
I don't know that. I just know we just filed. And then
Got it. Okay. Let's keep rocking.
down here at the bottom, you're going to see our expenses for delivery. And I think this is something that people are really curious about now that are trying to jump into delivery.
Yeah.
In this particular store, we paid $3,618 off of $14,433 for the sale.
Okay.
So you're paying a high amount for that, but at the end of the day, it's worth it because you're getting that business in and you're able to keep going.
Right.
This store, I have a great manager in there with Jason, making 20% profit in the store. He does a great job with that.
Wow. That's beautiful. Good job, Jason. If you're listening, you're doing great.
And also, just real quick, we're starting to get some questions in. If you think of a question, write it down now before you forget it.
Yeah.
It'll help us integrate it into the flow.
Well, and I would even say put it into the chat so that we just have it accessible. And just to chime in, a couple of these are some comments for you, Tom. Thank you for the comment about small local suppliers. And then the other one was from, my buddy Dorian at BU Cafe. Great conversation, good advice, Tom. So he's really enjoying it. BU, we're with you in this. And then Phyllis from up the road at JC's Kitchen. Thanks for the information during these times. So yeah, anyway, really appreciate you guys. Keep coming with the comments and the positivity so that we can let each other know that we're in this together. And also come with some questions. Oh, and then the first comment about the local suppliers is from actually our bookkeeper at Nolia, Tiffany Griffin. So that's great. Tiff is good.
Like you said, keep playing your bookkeeper.
Oh yeah.
Right. Keep paying your bookkeepers. I
hear you, Tiff.
I've been with my bookkeeper for 20 years, and Phyllis does a great job balancing this all out. And I'm at, especially in the restaurant business, a lot of us use her. She has about 25 clients, and she's having to balance everybody's world right now. So they're under a lot of stress. Don't forget to thank them.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
So that's the financial part of it. And it kind of, there's a mixture between the motivation and the finances. The finances for a lot of guys can stress them out to where they don't even want to look at it the next morning. You have to step up and be a businessman at this point and really look at it.
Or woman.
Woman. And a lot of people don't know how to really read their P&L. And you're welcome to share this on something to follow out that P&L I have. I know you have Justin. I don't know how you would do that, but so that people can kind of look at it.
I can get you guys that resource. That'd be great.
This has been broken down really nice and really tight and really easy to understand, especially for people.
Oh, sorry, quick comment. That's not my bookkeeper. That's Tiffany Brantner. I thought that was her handle. It's Tiffany Griffin from Bright Black Candles here in Durham. So you get a shout out. Good job.
So you have this finances, inspiration, motivation. You got to make these decisions. You can't wait to make the decisions. You have to make them really quickly. Which takes me to the next part that I want to talk about is mental health. And this is something I kind of have to share. I've gone through somewhat of a mental health crisis over the last couple of years where I had a nervous breakdown, actually two. And I went to rehab, and I've also gone through a lot of self-discovery about myself and trying to deal with my ego. And it all came down to basically at the end of the day, as I feel, my ego, how hard it was to navigate through Rise and have this job that I wasn't very good at. And I was learning and I was compromising, making compromises I never had. I had, compromised my integrity in a lot of ways that I never thought I had, and kind of trying to get that back and start feeling better about myself. I'm in a really, really good place right now. And I'm really, really thankful that I am in a good place before this happened. And there's a part of me that thrives in these type of situations. And I'm just glad that I had partners and franchisees who were kind to me during that point of my life and got me to this point. And all I want to do now is be in a position to really be the leader I need to be for my company.
Quick differentiating point. When you talk about ego in business, are you talking about deriving your sense of self-worth from your work and that not being divided, or what are you saying there?
For me, it was never divided. My whole view of myself and my self-worth was put into me as a business person and as a chef. And when I had to make decisions in the franchise world for consistency, I had to compromise some things that were food integrity that I never thought I would. My younger self would call me a shoemaker right now. But right now I have my products where I'm proud of my product at Rise, but the transition was really rough and really hard on my ego. And there's a lot of other things that happened there during that time. But at the bottom line, it was my ego that I was dealing with at that point. And I think if you know how to separate a big chunk of your ego away from yourself right now through this crisis, it's going to be helpful. Now we need our ego just to get out of bed in the morning, but we don't have an overinflated ego during life. We need to kind of find the balance in that. And in the mental health part of this, the tools that I've learned during this process have been really important to me. And I meet a lot of people who are in business who have a really well-balanced life.
Yeah.
And I also know a lot of people who don't have a balanced life at all. All they do is work. For me, the things that have helped me, meditation has helped me huge, just been gigantic for me to do. Birding is something that I picked up a hobby recently. When I went to a doctor looking for a pill after the last nervous breakdown I had a year ago, November. And he said, get a hobby. And I chose bird watching. Was something
That's a good doctor.
It's a great doctor, right? Thank you, Ross Blue Show, for having them on your plan. And when I went to that doctor to get a hobby, I took it really seriously. And I dove in, and now I have this hobby that I love that's so much fun and adventurous for me and teaching me.
And that's what you were doing in Honduras, right? You were bird watching.
In Honduras with some friends bird watching, taking some of my dearest friends down there to bird watch for the first time. And it's just helped. What it did to me when I was down so low, it helped balance my life. So then I could really do some rework, some really good work with therapists I work with. And just in general, I've found a lot more balance in my life. And I've also started praying recently, and praying hasn't been a big part of my life. I believe that there's something greater than us since my daughter was born. But I didn't have a connection with what that was until recently. And so I burn sage and I hold crystals and I pray. It's no one in particular, it's just someone higher than me. And in this time, it's not for everybody, but some people, you may want to at least have a conversation with yourself about what you need, and it may be a connection with the higher spirit.
Right. And that prayer, with yourself even could be as simple as journaling. Here's how I'm feeling, here's what's going on, which journaling to me, it's an amazing tool to just get it out there, but it's also so beautiful to document and go back and look back, especially in times like this, because on the other side of it, you're not going to remember how bad it actually was. And to be able to, 10 years from now, you're going to be the Tom Ferguson sharing advice with someone else about how you rode through this. Documenting is going to be so key to that.
I think journaling is awesome. I've done that during different points. I think when you get to, there's one thing that I do probably more than all the other things that I do, and that's a daily affirmation. And my daily affirmation goes like this. I'm a loving and respectful man who inspires and motivates those around them. For those that try to bring me down, I will shower them with love and respect and inspire them and motivate them to be better. I say it every morning. I say it out loud to myself. I've been saying the same one ever since I went to rehab, close to 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago. And I find so much power in that every day as I start, because there's haters out there that are going to hate you for what you're doing or try to throw stones at you if you're successful. And just use that power as a motivation. Don't let it get you down.
Right. It's an inner realignment for you about who you are and why you're on the planet. I love that.
There's something very, very powerful about that part of it.
Well, there's something I want to point out too, because the theme that we've had through with you and really with all of our guests is just that there's opportunity here.
Yeah.
I mean, all we see is, and you just hit on a beautiful one about the ego, whatever that means to people, and, you know, just talking generally about it, is that collaboration is, you're not going to survive without collaboration right now.
Mhm.
So it's almost that just to respond as a business person in this moment is going to require collaboration and a lessening of the ego. And this is the opportunity we have, not just to, you know, it's like we're always looking for a reason to take ourselves on in this way.
Mhm.
And now we just have a, you know, I think what you're modeling and what you're speaking to is that this is actually just part of our economic survival too. And that's part of the opportunity here.
Yeah, and I see it sliding into our whole world and our whole community too. Like, this is a chance to, we've been checked, you know, like, oh shit, we ain't as tough as I thought it was. We have an opportunity here to come together. If you go back 3 weeks, this country was pretty divided. It's still divided, but there's a little bit less of that friction right now.
Yeah.
There is this feeling from the left and the right saying we're all in this together. And there is this understanding of that. And I think that for a generation like mine, which I'm the last year of the baby boomers, and for Generation X following me, and for the millennials now, we have an opportunity to be the greatest generation. We have a chance to be what our ancestors were. We have a chance to turn this generation of greed and me into something more consciously connected. And if I have a hope for this, that's my bigger hope than we get to the I would rather not get to the financial levels that I was before. I would be much happier with a conscious connection with the world a little bit better as we get through this. And I think we have that opportunity. And I think that's one of the things that I feel in the morning when I'm looking at stuff as being optimistic. I'm optimistic for that.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't squander that chance we've been given right now for something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Business and humanity both have to evolve right now. We're at this tipping point. I want to field a few comments and questions here. Olivia Gray has a comment that the state has waived penalties for both late filing and late payment for February sales tax, as long as it is filed and paid by April 15th, it looks like. Yeah, April 15th. So thank you for chipping that in.
There's something else about, like, back in the past, I know that you could, if you didn't pay, you were late on paying like once in a 2-year period, they wouldn't charge you the fees too. So you'll have to talk to them directly about that. I can't speak.
Right. Yeah, and talk to your tax professional as well, because they're going to have a lot more information. We are not experts on that. Find an expert for sure. Suzanne Nason, great info. Thanks for sharing. Dorian, we have a question here. Can you share any advice, lessons learned from doing delivery? You mentioned earlier that you made a couple of mistakes, but adjusted on the fly. What were some of those mistakes? What advice do you have on that?
Yeah, there's a couple things with delivery. Number one, the complexity of doing the donuts, things that you run out of really quickly, are because someone orders a creme brulee donut, the driver comes to pick it up, you don't have it. My store will replace it with something else. That client's pissed off, right?
Okay.
So there's ways to adjust it, but they're kind of complicated when you're in the heat of the moment doing it. It's your best choice if you're just jumping into delivery now is to shrink the menu. Don't try to do your whole menu. Do things that you have plenty of to do.
Right, that you can bang out.
Relatively simple. Double check your packing. The things that are the biggest complaints for delivery are slow delivery. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people complaining about that right now.
Sure.
There's your food's not hot. It's not put in the proper container, or they didn't get the correct order, or something was missing. And those are the killers. So we, out of our 16 stores that deliver, if stores weren't doing a good job, you could tell because drivers weren't coming back to pick up food. If a driver came and waited 15 minutes, he lost money by picking up that order. So he wasn't going to click on going to your store next time.
Okay, so what are the big things? Get this and this right when it comes to delivery.
Get the order correct and don't forget anything.
Right, right. No, it is. It's simple, but it takes a lot to do.
We have a little cheat sheet sign in there that tells people those 4 points to concentrate on those. We have systems for making sure we have everything in there, utility, everything that they need.
Yeah.
You just can't rush. It's not like taking a plate to a table and then saying, "Oh, I wanted sauce on the side." Well, they take it back in and put sauce on the side.
Right,
If your driver's got to come all the way back, it's not going to get fixed, right?
right.
It's going to be someone upset, and they can go to the delivery service and they can say, "Hey, take this off my bill," and then you'll get that money. So
Right.
I think that's really important, just from the pickup we had yesterday, is to anticipate what are the extras people just get with your standard food.
Mhm.
You know, in other words, we were at a chicken place and we like the sauce. We like lots of sauce. We had to send them back in, but you could anticipate people, if you know people love your sauce, get the sauce in there.
right. And you have to, we have choices of different sauces, and that was a problem at a certain time. Sauce on the side, we started doing for certain things, just automatically on the side. That way we didn't have to worry about it. Someone said, put it on the side.
Yeah.
But those aren't really things they're going to be able to adjust on the fly right now.
Yeah.
How the menu's written. My biggest advice is keep that delivery menu simple.
Yeah.
Make it too complex. Concentrate on a few items that are your home runs out of your store as it is, and just people will order that.
Now, one thing that we've done, piece of practical advice from Nolia, now it's coffee. It's not as complicated as some of the other restaurant services, but we've added a pretty robust menu of modifiers to your order. So it's things like you want it extra sweet, or you want this type of milk, or you want this. And so it's actually right there on the order. So when it, maybe if it comes to extra sauce or making sure that ketchup is there, even if you have it for free, like a lot of half and half, we don't upcharge for putting cream in your coffee. But we still have it on there so that people can add it right in at zero cost, but it's right on our order. So maybe some practical things like that.
There's a couple of different viewpoints on this subject that you're talking about. So if there's a lot of clicks to an order, sometimes people just want to click really fast and get their thing.
Uh-huh.
If you have those different modifiers that you need to use, and we have those too, it needs to be consistently put on the third-party delivery as is you would punch that order in your store. Because the person making the order, when the same order comes in, but it's something's before something else, and then it's switched the next one, that's where a lot of mistakes get made in the back. The consistency of the way that the person putting the order sees something. I don't know if I can make that make sense online, but I know that was a big issue for us. We had people ordering from a kiosk. The order would come in one way, people ordering from our online, it would come in another way, and people ordering from third parties would come in another way. Now they all come in the same, and they all look the same to the person fulfilling the order.
Okay, a couple more comments. Brian Bird. Hey, Justin. Oh, what's up, Brian? Thanks for being transparent about mental health. Really appreciated that. Great information from Chester Williams. Dorian, he just chimed in. Good advice. Thanks, Tom, and thanks for Justin on the modifiers. And Aisha Allen. What's up, Aisha? And such good points. So thanks for this information. Okay, we got about 10 more minutes. So what else do you got, Tom? Let's dive in. And then if you have any more questions, now's the time to get them in, because there's a little bit of a lag between YouTube and us. So make sure, and this is for business, not just for restaurateurs. Tom's a great businessman, and so pick his brain on any of that. Go ahead.
So there's a great documentary called The Fog of War. And
Fog of War.
Fog of War, it's about McNamara when he was Secretary of Defense for Kennedy and for Johnson. He talks about what the fog of war is. And it's like when you're in war, mistakes are going to be made. They're going to be made. They're going to be made by everybody. They're going to be made by our government. They're going to be made by you. They're going to be made by your employees. And that's just one of the natural occurrences of going through something like this. Don't get so carried away to where you're pointing the finger at what other people are doing that it distracts you from getting your job done. And I think that's an important thing right now. We have plenty of stuff we can bitch about our government for. We have plenty of mistakes our employees are going to make. You're going to make a mistake. I've already made a couple during this time. Just don't get caught up in it. Don't let it stop you from going forward. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. I'm in everything that I say with people is like, keep fighting, baby. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. Keep fighting through this. Don't worry about whose fault it is. We're all going to make mistakes in the fog of war.
Yes. I love it.
Now I want to plug something that I'm trying to do. I haven't got much response on this, but what I did is I quickly put together a pop-up ghost kitchen / cloud kitchen for restaurants or food trucks that may not have the ability to do delivery or to do takeout.
Beautiful.
Currently in their setup. So what we've done is we secured a restaurant spot in downtown Durham, and we've gone through the lawyer, we've gone through the insurance, we got our POS hooked up, we got a splash page for people to be able to order for delivery and order for pickup out of it. What I'm doing now is collecting names of people who would like to be in the facility. I'm going to have at least 5 places that want to do this by Monday to pull the trigger on it.
Okay.
But the way that it's basically set up is we'll take out 15% of your sales to work in the spot. It has all the kitchen equipment you need. We
Yeah.
have it all organized with the POS. We have the ordering with the delivery system there. You'll have to bring in your cook, your delivery driver, your food, and your disposables. And
Yeah.
that's it, and your liability insurance. And we'll orchestrate it to where we can get everything out.
Yeah.
If you don't make the money to pay the rent and a little bit of overhead, I will take care of that. If we make more than that, we will donate that to the what's the name of the organization, actually, to the Triangle Restaurant Employee Relief Fund.
Oh, beautiful.
Actually, Christian is pushing through the
What a great service. And how do people get in touch with you? Tom@risefranchising.com. Is that your?
they can email me there. They can see this through my Facebook page. It's also on all my 3 corporate Rises Facebook page.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be some more information. I've asked people to share it, so it should be floating out there a little bit.
And we'll share this information in a post as well, so that it's going out to our community.
And also, I just want to point, you also, your bird watching website as well, the Hypermanic.
Yeah, I remember, or what I have now is Your Birding Story, and also do D-Town Bird Club, which is something that I'm really passionate about. There's a lot of stuff in birding that I've kind of put on hold right now.
And just so I understand, since I'm not in the restaurant business, tell me your prototypical person who would benefit from the service that you're providing right now.
A food truck would, or maybe even a fine dining restaurant that it's too complicated for them to get in the back to pick up orders, or they can't maneuver quick enough to put something out, but they want to keep a couple employees working during this time.
Right. And
So-
simple menu, roll it out, right?
Yeah, limited menu. The benefit's going to come that it's all going to be on one page. So it's called Steadfast Durham. So when people say they want to support local food, they go to Steadfast and order from all these different restaurants that are in this one place off this platform. And then when that comes to the POS, it will directly go to the part of the kitchen that that person's working. And they'll cook the food, bag it up, give it to a distribution place that will then give it to the driver to take out. And we'll also incorporate some third-party delivery companies too. And this, like I said, we haven't had much response, so I don't know if it's going to go forward or not. But I do like the idea of Steadfast Durham. I like the name of that. And we may change that into Steadfast Durham being a Facebook site where people can share what they're doing, kind of like you're doing here, in a verbal way of how to help other people or kind of get resources out.
And I want to do a call to action here we're getting all these comments, and I know everyone's so appreciative for what you're doing. And the way to pay back right now to Tom and the community, if it's not you, fine. If you know people who are good candidates for this, let's get this out. I mean, I would
That's
love,
a great resource.
I would just love to, by Monday, to have this call to action. You make it. I know how much you put into this. I know you put your own money into lawyers and everything else. You're taking time away from your business to do something for others. And I want everyone to rally around, not just themselves, but bring others to rally in as well, because it's beautiful.
I'm a bit concerned that some people, when this happened, just kind of froze a little bit and didn't know what to do and didn't see a path to do anything. And are hoping that the government's going to bail us out. But, you know, the American Restaurant Association announced they're anticipating this is a $225 billion loss of sales to the restaurant industry.
Wow.
Guys, they cannot pay you the money for the losses now.
Yeah.
Not sit around and wait for the government on this.
Yeah.
They are going to take care of the biggest employers first.
Right.
That means 500 or more employee people are going to be taken care of first. There may be something for you, but you need to treat that like gravy on your biscuit.
Right.
Save your biscuit, and if
Right.
it gives you something, go ahead and put it on it. But if you're waiting for that, if you're counting on that, you're making a terrible mistake right now. And that's not a push for, you know, Steadfast Durham. That's a push for however you go out there and continue to cook food. You need to do that not only from a financial sense in getting out there and trying to make money where you can, but also from a middle one, just getting out there and moving instead of sitting at home and watching a movie or pretending this isn't happening. This is happening. And best case scenario, by the end of April, it's all kind of washed away and we're back to normal.
Sure.
Worst case.
Okay, a couple more questions here. One from my social media advisor, Aisha Allen. Do you feel like there is an increased need for companies to have an online presence during this time, especially restaurants. So not just for the ordering, but getting on social media, getting on those types of.
I think most people are now anyways, in restaurants are. I think communicating, one of the things I said in that other video we did is get out there and talk to your customers and let them know what's going on in the company.
Right.
Let them know what you're doing for their health and welfare, for your employees and everything. Just have these open conversations with them about what's going on. I think.
And a lot of that is happening on social media right now, real time. I'll say for Nolia Coffee, we're heavy on Instagram and having a lot of amazing conversations with our community and our customers through that platform that's kind of real time and getting some really great feedback.
Real quick, because you made a point in the other one I thought was great. You said, go through your customer list. These people are your clients.
Yeah.
They see what they want. Actually get on there and say, hey, can I help you?
Right.
Being proactive with that. I wanted to make sure that bit of advice got into this as well.
And then last big question here. Have you ever borrowed recovery money? So this is really practical, like those offered by the SBA. If so, how was your experience? We were just on a call yesterday or on a Zoom where they were sharing the SBA current program. It's 3-point-something% SBA loans that they're offering out. What's your feedback? When would a company use that so that it's not a burden to them?
I'm going to tell you, there's two experiences. One in 2009, they did this emergency relief fund to borrow money.
Yeah.
And I had perfect credit. I'd been in business for 10 years, was doing well, and they didn't give it to me. And then I heard later they only gave a few of those away. I was pretty upset because all the money went to the bankers at that point, right, to save them. It didn't come to us. Now, this one I think is going to be a bit different where they do give loans to other people, but you have to be extremely careful. You can't dig a hole right now so deep that it's going to take you years to get out of it. Try to fight as much as you can to get through this without taking that loan. I know it's easy to just say, yeah, I'll just get a loan or get a loan for it now because they're putting it out there, but make that, and even if you get it, maybe you don't have to spend it right away and hold back and get part of it back away when this is over. I see if you have a line of credit with the bank, I've already pulled that out, held that so that we have it as an emergency fund, but you have to be really careful about getting these other loans. I'm getting emails every day about loan here, loan here, loan there. Yeah, I don't want to get out of this and owe a lot of people money.
Right.
I want to get out of this and get back to normal as fast as I can. It may not be possible for you.
Right. So your advice, avoid it as much as possible.
As much as possible.
And, but if you can't have it as really an emergency cushion, not something that you're relying on to get through this time.
Right.
Am I hearing you right?
That's my advice.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good point. It goes back to so much what you said is that this is challenging us to bring out the best in each of us. And it's so much easier to borrow money than to become a better entrepreneur who makes more money.
Right.
So I think there's a way of saying, hey, I'm not going to take the easy way out. That's the old way. I want the new way. I want to become this person that doesn't need this money.
If you're sitting there and you're weighing, well, I can get in there and kind of fight, or I can just close down my restaurant and get my loan so when it's over, I can come back. I think you're digging a hole for yourself. I think you need to do a combination of both. Fight your way out. If you still need the loan, get it. Spend as little as possible.
Yeah.
Just get out of this as fast as you
Right.
can.
The cash flow is king.
The opportunity on the other side of this is going to be gigantic for everyone.
Yeah. A question from Marissa Garcia. For Steadfast Durham, does a business need to put any money up front to be able to join?
No. In and out.
Money up front. You're just taking the 15% as the
Out of
overhead.
their charges that we're collecting, and we're paying your taxes for you, and we're paying the credit card fees.
And you're bearing all the risk and all the upfront expenses. You
Yeah,
personally.
I don't know how else to say it to other people. This isn't a business opportunity for me. It's a way for me to fucking try to help some people in my community that fucking gave me so many chances in my life.
Wow.
And Tom, one thing I want to say, I know we're out of time. Leadership I've heard is when you talk from it rather than about it. And it's just so clear you're talking from it.
Yeah.
And that's the leadership. I mean, the leadership that you are manifesting and the model you're doing is just, it's as priceless as your words. So I just want you to know, and I know what a man of heart you are. I think everyone can see what a man of heart you are. And you're who we want. You're the kind of person we want to be, and we will be through this process.
Well, I'm only trying to share my experience. You know, like I say to a lot of people, if I can't share my shit with you, then you're going to step in it. What good is that?
That's good.
There's one last thing I want to leave you with, because I think we're getting to the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, you maybe think it's cheesy or not, but Tim Tebow said something back in the year, I think it was 2008, in the promise speech. And I think that all of us need to check ourselves out a little bit. And I just want to read the promise speech to you. You'll never see any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play the rest of the season. You will never see someone push the rest of my team as hard as I will push everybody the rest of the season. And you will never see a team play harder than we will the rest of the season. Tim Tebow, the promise speech. Guys, thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Tom, you are a beautiful soul. I got to say, too, for all of our listeners, Dave and I are really working hard to help entrepreneurs through this time. Reach out to us. We have an incredible business assessment and offering even feedback and resources like Tom, if that's who you need. Like, we're connecting the dots for people. So if you're a restaurateur, we feel like someone else can help you, just like, please reach out. We're here. We're in your corner for you. And again, same like Tom, we're not just using this as a business opportunity. We genuinely believe that we have things that can help people get through these stormy seas. So reach out. Social media is probably my easiest. Justin Minott, M-I-N-O-T-T is how you spell my last name. And be in touch. Lots of love. Keep fighting. Keep your mental health up. And Tom, I can't thank you enough for this advice. It's been great.
And Tom, I'm just so proud. I'm so proud to have you as a friend.
Thanks.
Thanks for proud and lucky to have you as a friend.
Thanks for giving me the platform, guys. Love you guys. Good luck.
Back at
Right
it.
on, man.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.